Welcome to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. Get ready to be inspired, uplifted, and connected to the miraculous energy of unconditional love that I call Mother Mary. If you're a highly sensitive, highly creative entrepreneur or light worker, and you want to magnify your impact and your intuition, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Reverend Frances Faden, interfaith minister, intuitive coach, and author of Meditation is Friendship with God. I can't wait to share miraculous stories, books, meditations, messages, and interviews with other miraculous light workers just like you. Are you ready to magnify your miracles? What are we waiting for? Let's get started. Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. I'm so grateful that we get to spend this time together, and Happy New Year. I'm recording this podcast in January of 2021, and I'm already so excited about the new energy of this new year. And that's part of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about reading the energy and predictions versus reading the energy. What's the difference? Let me guide you through the process, at least as best as I understand it. But before we get to all of that, let's just take a few deep breaths together, get ourselves grounded and centered. And if you're driving, please keep your eyes open, but you can always bring your awareness to your breath and just let yourself become aware of your breathing. Allowing yourself to breathe in the energy of expansion and breathing out whatever heavy energy you no longer need. Let that go. And knowing that whatever it is that you need to hear today to uplift you, to inspire you, to motivate you to keep moving forward is exactly what's going to be happening. So let's take one more deep breath together with gratitude. And we can begin. All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much for taking a few moments with me to breathe and center. It always makes me feel better. And it helps me with my own energy. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. So it's a brand new year. And of course, even before the new year started, people started making predictions. Everyone was trying to predict what's the energy of this new year going to be like. What can we say? And it's not just in the metaphysical realm that people are making predictions. They make predictions about the weather. They make predictions about the stock market. They make predictions about just about everything you can make a prediction about. And I want to talk to you a little bit about why I don't make predictions and why I focus on reading the energy instead and what that means and how you can start to understand what that means. And maybe you can start to do a little bit of your own version of reading the energy as well. So, when I started doing this work a long time ago, I won't say how long ago it was, but I've been doing this work, let's just say well over 20 years. I never wanted to call myself psychic because in my mind, psychic and predictions go hand in hand. People would go to a psychic because they wanted the psychic to tell them when was something going to happen, as if it was preordained. Now, I know many, many wonderful, good psychics, and a lot of them don't do that kind of work, but there are some people that do. But the point is, people would look for that. And so people would come to me sometimes and they would say, "Are you psychic?" And I'd say, "Well, it depends upon your definition of psychic. I like to call myself intuitive." And of course, the inevitable question would come up, which would be, when am I going to meet my boyfriend? When am I going to marry my boyfriend? And when's he going to become my husband? When am I going to get that great job? Whatever it might be. When am I going to make more money? And I would say to people, I can't tell you, when you are going to meet your boyfriend. But what I can tell you is if when you meet him, is your energy actually open to having a relationship with him? Or if you're looking to manifest more money, I can tell you whether your energy is in alignment with that or not, which to me is much more valuable because I would have sometimes, and I'll confess, it's mostly women who are like, when am I going to meet my boyfriend? And I would say, if you met him today, he's probably going to walk right past you because your heart chakra is not open, sadly. So what I can help you with is opening your heart so that when you do run into him one day, you'll recognize him and your heart will be able to receive that level of love and attention, which if you have any stuff around that, it's going to make it really difficult. So what's the key difference here? The difference is predictions make it seem as if something is inevitable and guaranteed to happen. So the challenge with that is now you've lost your personal power and you no longer have any control or any say in it. Now I'm making things very, very simplified. Obviously it's going to be a more complicated issue than this, but just for the purpose of this podcast, I want you to understand a little bit more that really those kinds of predictions aren't so helpful. And I used to follow those kinds of predictions a long time ago. Especially around astrology, people would say, oh, you're going to have your Jupiter return, or you're going to have this happen or that happen, and it's going to be in this house, and that means this. And I would be like, great, that's awesome. And I would wait, and I would wait, and I would wait for whatever the predestined thing to happen. And you know what? Never happened. Never happened. Now, that didn't mean that I might not have noticed maybe things were a little bit easier in some area of my life or something like that. But the things that were predicted didn't really ever come to pass. I will say, though, I did go to see one psychic when I was 18, and I was, and I was just like everybody else. And I was like, my question was, when am I going to meet the Go-Go's, and how can I become the sixth member of the Go-Go's? And she just laughed. And she did say to me, though, she's like, well, 5 years from now, everything's going to change for you. So just kind of go down the road you're going down now. And the truth of the matter is 5 years from then, things did change. I graduated from college and I completely changed everything I was doing. And I went to massage school, became a healer. All of that did happen. Now, she didn't say to me, 5 years from now, you're going to go to massage school. She just said, 5 years from now, pretty much everything in your life is going to really change. And it really, really did. That's the year that I came out. Like, a lot of things changed across the board. It was a fundamental shift. But I was also participating in that and asking myself, I didn't really want to do what I had gone to college for. So what did I want to do? I wanted to become a healer. And so I started pursuing all those kinds of things. So yes, I believe that what she did is she was reading my energy, and she was reading the trend of where my heart was really headed. I was in college at the time, but my heart wasn't really in studying communications. I wanted to be two things, either a rock star or a healer, and preferably both. And so she could feel that in my energy field. And I think that's how she was able to guide me and say, in about 5 years or so, everything's going to really shift for you in an amazing way. So the downside of predictions is it puts you in the waiting mode. It takes you out of the driver's seat. If you take it as if it's something that's a guaranteed thing, it's predestined, it's fate. But if you start reading the energy of things, and that's a lot of what's going on right now. A lot of the astrologers are looking at the planets and they're going, Mars usually does this, Saturn usually does this, Pluto usually does this. Pluto and Saturn, when they're together, they tend to do this. And if they make this kind of an angle, and that's how people start to look at things, and they make whatever their predictions might be. And it's one of the things that I like to do is I'll look at some different calendars. I like to look at astrology calendars that tell me when the eclipses are happening and when the full moons and the new moons are happening. But I also take a look at my Mother Mary calendar, and I look at when the feast days are happening. And I'll even put a link in the show notes of my two favorite calendars. I have one of them right here called Seasons and Cycles. I don't know if you can see that. Seasons and Cycles. It's a moon calendar, but it also tells you other really cool stuff. And then I have this beautiful calendar, Mary and the Saints, and that tells me when all the feast days are happening and the special religious holidays. And I'll also look at the Hindu calendar, and I'll look to see when are some of the major feasts happening there. And I look at some of the other things too, and I look to see what are the parallels. So even just taking a quick glance at these calendars, I already know that August of this year is going to be a really special month for Mother Mary based on the moon and the feast days. And so you can start doing some things like that if you want to start understanding trends and you want to start understanding energy. I look at those things and then I meditate and I ask Mother Mary, where do you want me to put my energy? What do you want to show me? What's happening in the world that you want me to understand that I can help other people with? And that's how I know like when to offer my classes, what the theme of the classes are going to be. But you know what? The most important work I do is actually with individuals. It's with you, and it's reading your energy. Because if you want to know what 2021 is going to be like for you, you want to take a look at what your energy is telling you, because that's the greatest indicator of what's coming down the pike. Your energy is a combination of your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs and the actions that you've taken. And they create really your karma, because we're working with the law of cause and effect. And what people don't tell you is, like, karma is this big, scary word. You can change your karma like that. You can change it just by taking a new action. The question is, what action is the best action for you to take? That's the big question, right? Well, this is how I guide people. I guide people to understand their energy and what is their energy telling them. Because if you're like me, you're probably going to make a list of goals for the new year that are going to be very left brain. My left brain loves to make a list of, like, do this, 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 which is fine. And then I sit back and I listen to my heart and I ask and I say, okay, what's really wanting to happen through me? And I try to feel for the energy. It's a little bit challenging to do for yourself. I'll be perfectly honest. I've been doing it long enough that I've learned how to listen, but it still can be a challenge to do on your own. And then I take that, and what am I being guided to? How does it feel? And a question I ask my clients all the time is, where is the energy? So I might have a list of things of, like, okay, this is the marketing I'm going to do, and I'm going to write this book, and I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to reach out to this person, and these are all the people I want to have guests on my podcast, and blah, 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 like bullet points. I might have all of those things. And then I check in with myself and I say, all right, so how does that feel? How does it feel? Where is the energy? Is the energy in doing a lot of outward marketing and outreach and all of that? Or is the energy a little bit more inward? Is it feeling more organic, wanting to do things one day at a time? Like, what does it feel like? And that's how I work with my own energy. If I were working with you, it's so much easier than when I try to work with myself, because I can read your energy and find out, what does it want to tell us? What are the things that are most in alignment with you? Because again, you probably have that part of you that wants to get this done. But then there's the part of you that is your most authentic self in your heart center that actually knows what's the right thing for you and what's trying to happen through you. So your energy is really the key to predicting your own future. It's the key to creating your future. You know, I can make predictions all day long. I can say this is likely to happen and that's likely to happen. And sometimes when I'm even doing a miracle meeting with somebody, they'll be telling me about their issues. And I was like, they'll tell me that, oh, they're having issues with confidence and this and that. They'd love to get their book done, or they'd love to grow their practice, or whatever spiritual entrepreneur thing they might be doing. And I'm like, oh, okay. And my left brain's immediately saying, like, aha, that's going to be their solar plexus. That's going to be their third chakra. And then we take a look at their energy. We actually schedule a session and do their energy. And it's actually not in their third chakra at all. There's underlying things going on, maybe in their second chakra or maybe in their heart chakra. And so left brain, perfectly valid, but might not be for this person. And that's where following the energy and reading the energy of what's going on is so important for you. This is an ancient practice, my friends. You know, both the Old Testament and the New Testament filled with people who were reading the energy. We called them prophets at the time. And they would read the trends and they would read the stars. And the three wise men were following the astrology of the time and looking at that star and saying, when that kind of star appears, usually a great king is about to be born, and let's go and follow that. And they followed the energy of the star. And it led them, of course, to find Mother Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus, and to bring the three gifts that they did bring. And so studying the energy, looking to see, what does it mean? It's a practice. It's something that you can learn to do. Everybody's got their own way that energy shows up for them. But the number one thing that you can do is start to understand your own energy. Once you do, it is so empowering because you know how to take care of yourself. You start to understand, what is my body trying to tell me? You start to understand how relationships are affecting you. which ones are supporting you and which ones are not, and what can you do about the ones that are not, and what can you do to enhance the ones that are. You start to understand what food is working for you, or what music is really good for you, or being outside or not being outside. You start to understand how to really take care of yourself and how to really love yourself. Now, I'm just going to offer this to you. You're free to, make whatever choice you want to make. But there's something I like to do every January, and I offer a special where people can have their first 3 appointments at a very discounted price. It's a very special price I do only in January. If you'd like to do that, normally what I do in the first appointment, it's a 90-minute appointment. And we go through all 7 of your energy centers, and it helps us really pinpoint where you are, what's going on with you. And then we do 2 follow-up appointments, one the next week and one the week after that. And usually by the 3rd appointment, I can really tell what patterns you have. What are your energy patterns? What are the things that you need to look out for? Now, obviously, I recommend working with me a lot longer than 3 sessions. But for someone that's never worked with me before, or you're wanting to really get an idea about your own energy, having those first 3 appointments is invaluable. And I highly recommend, if you've never done it, that you give it a try. And if you'd like to do it, I'm going to put a link down in the show notes where you can schedule a miracle meeting with me in the month of January. And just see, we'll talk about it. I'll hear about where you are, what's going on, and whether that might be a good fit for you. It's a good fit for a lot of people to get started. And it's an awesome way to start your 2021, knowing about your own energy and how you can direct your energy for this new year. So that's my take on predictions versus reading the energy. Both have their place. Both are valuable. The big challenge with predictions is not giving your power away. Somebody can make a prediction, but you always have the energy of free will. You can always make a choice. And every time you make a choice, you change the outcome. You change what would have been happening. And so follow the energy, follow your own energy, study your energy, pay attention to what you notice. You might start noticing trends of how you feel on cloudy days and how you feel on sunny days. You might start noticing when you get up early or when you sleep in. You might start noticing your energy when you talk to certain people, when you don't talk to certain people. You might notice your energy when you do certain prayers and you don't do certain prayers. It's really an adventure. It's such an adventure. And rather than feeling overwhelmed by it, I'm hoping that you feel inspired by, wow, I can really get to know myself and I can start to really create what I want to create in 2021 by directing my energy in the direction that I really would love to go and that I would love to experience. So I'd love to have you set up an appointment with me. If you'd love to, we could have a miracle meeting and talk about whether those 3 appointments might be a good idea for you, or maybe something else might be even better for you. Again, the link is in the show notes. So thank you so much, my friends. So great to spend this time with you. And remember, the key to magnifying your miracles is to know that your miracle is already here. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. I'm so grateful to be able to spend this time with you. If you want even more inspiration, feel free to visit my website, francisfaden.com or magnifyyourmiracles.com. And if you did enjoy this episode, I would really appreciate it if you left a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever it is that you connect with awesome podcasts. Remember, the key to magnifying your miracles is remembering that your miracle is already here.